I caught it. Okay.
Close one.
Let me get the video capture device
Oh
here.
God, do we exist? Oh!
Hello!
It scared me.
Hello. Alright, let me get this video out of the way. How do I computer?
Escape?
Oh, maybe.
Or that.
Oh,
Nope.
go away. Okay.
Close one.
So, we are live. We're working. Oh, actually. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm just going to check the sound real quick. Oh, maybe.
I hear that.
Oh.
Nope. Oh, God,
Okay.
is that what we sound
so
like?
we do... That is what we sound like.
Gross.
Alright. Yeah, let me pause that video. Let me not load up game facts. And let me load up our document here.
Yes, yeah. Our spreadsheet. Because well, I know you were reorganizing things and such, making
All right, so while I'm doing this, has there been anything, because I know you've been off work more this week,
like a lazy
what
bum.
have you been playing?
One thing that, and I know you'll appreciate this, is that I've slipped back into the Robocraft bandwagon.
Oh,
so
God.
They, because there was our Extra Life marathon where more than half the night devolved into Robocraft, so that's been near to our hearts ever since.
Robocraft was pretty insane, because everyone, except for me, seemed to play it after the LAN.
Yep, yeah. And of those 24 hours, I distinctly remember looking at my Steam library and seeing 17 of those 24 hours were put into Robocraft. And I regret nothing. But yes, I've been playing that a lot lately with some buddies because they recently did a fairly major update where they added 2 new game types and big time
what
revamped. Well, there's battle mode, which is it's like a cross between old school Battlefield 1942
I can do that.
point capturing and with some smatterings of MOBA-ish tropes to it, like as you do better and as you kill things, it takes you longer to spawn, that kind of stuff. And then there's a second mode where if you're above a certain level, you can elect to enter challenge mode. And if you're in challenge mode, that means it would be a team of yourself and 3 other people of your level versus like a team of like 10 level 1 or level 2 people.
Okay.
So the idea is that like you basically elect to say, I will be on a challenge team, and then people who are signing up to play classic mode at the low levels have a chance to be thrown into one of these battles instead. And I've been on the opposite end of that before. I've yet to play any of the...
How crushed are you getting right now playing?
It's actually not too bad. The nice thing about battle mode is that it's not a one-time death type of deal. So if you die, you have a respawn time.
I like that.
Like I mentioned, if you do really well, your respawn timer increases, so that the people that are doing super awesome are kind of penalized. It's an odd way of balancing things, and I'm not 100% sure about how I feel about it, because it feels a little weird to like balance by punishing people who do well, but on the other end, I don't know. It's weird, and I don't know how I feel about it yet, but the mode itself is really fun, and it's super lucrative as far as like the points, like the in-game currency you get back on it. I think it's probably the quickest way to level up your craft is by playing battle mode. So It's been very fun. They've revamped the physics engine to be less ridiculous, because I remember in the past, you would like run into, like maybe if a player flipped his cart over, or his robot over, you would try to like run into him to flip him or her over. More often than not, you would hit the person and it would just stop like a brick. Like there was no physics to like determine how you would bounce off of them, but they've revamped that. They've added a bunch of new stuff. They have tank treads now. They have helicopter rotors.
Gosh,
they added a bunch of aerofoil stuff. It's really impressive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so is Robocraft still in beta? Are they still technically in beta? When we were playing, they were still in? I remember seeing the beta logo.
Yeah, probably.
So I think they were still in beta. Are they still in beta?
That's a good question. I don't know if they have officially crossed over into the realm of official release or not. It is still free to play, which is the nice bonus. In fact, there was a Humble Bundle a couple weeks back. It was one of the weekly bundles, and a little bonus pack of Robocraft stuff was included in that weekly bundle. It included a new garage slot, a free robot, a tier 3 robot, some of the
how many tiers are there?
There's 10 plus an extra special fancy schmancy level, or if you reach this fancy schmancy level, you have the capability of making an epic bot. I think that's what they call it at least.
Okay.
Where you can you basically have the ability to construct this colossal beast of a bot, and it's similar to challenge mode where you would either be by yourself or with a team of 3 people versus a team of lower level people. So I've seen battles before where it's a single megabot versus like 10 level 1 people, or 3 megabots versus like 10 level 4 people or something like that. So it usually puts those in the challenge ratings as well. I'm yet to see. I don't think there's a mode where it's like all megabots fighting together. Mm-hmm. But as you might imagine, that kind of shit becomes very overpowered. I've been in the lower end of that spectrum before, fighting a megabot, and like you would think that the group, that the swarm would crush the megabot.
Yeah.
And that's usually the opposite direction. Usually the megabot will one-shot everything in sight. So it's a substantial challenge.
Wow,
but it's really fun. Someday I hope to achieve that level of notoriety, but it's going to take quite a while.
Okay.
But yeah, that's been very fun. That's been playing with some buddies that because you might remember that when we all played Robocraft all together in that LAN, I don't know if you had this happen to you, but a lot of people were messaging me saying, "Hey man, I've had my eye on that game. How is it?" And it's like, and from there it continued to blossom, and the scourge of Robocraft continued to spread.
Yeah, and it's still spread. I see a ton of people on my friends always playing Robocraft.
Yep,
constant. I know Dave.
Like Dave, yes.
Dave was the one that showed me at the LAN that he had showed me this thing that they had made, which was he made a balloon craft just about where he starts off and he's just like, and he raises all the way into the air, and then he has like a super high powered sniper, and then the entire bottom of his ship was angled with armor plates.
Yeah.
Nobody could really get up to him from underneath. It had to be over the top of him, and then he just sat up the entire time. But he said that it was broken for a while, that he was just able to annihilate people, but they fixed it, and he said he was just getting knocked out of the air so quick. He was just getting blown up from the air. Yeah,
more often than not, the flyers in-game are the glassiest of the glass cannons, in that they have a huge tactical advantage because they can see practically every damn near thing, which means that every damn near thing can see them too. So they might be able to get a couple of quick, easy kills, but usually it doesn't take long for someone to see them get like maybe 1 or 2 good hits, if that, and they're out. It's not because they explode and die, but because if they lose that piece that keeps their left side airborne, then they're just gonna spiral down, and they'll either land into a crowd of enemies and get destroyed, or worse, they'll just land out on their own and just sit there where no one can reach them, and then it's just, well, I guess I'm just gonna sit here for a while, and then it gets awkward. So yeah, the airborne ones are fun, but they come with an accepted risk.
Yeah. I remember seeing some of the early mock-ups for like helicopters and stuff. Yeah. That shit was cool.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, the game is pretty diverse as far as it goes.
It is.
And the competitiveness is nice. So there's a lot of people playing now, which is really good too, because you got more and more people that are building these crazy ass machines.
Yeah.
I might return to it soon. I'm not sure yet though, but it's definitely.
It's still really fun. It feels not. I've yet to have any like huge balancing, like, oh man, such and such is so overpowered. It feels pretty good. The different weapon types that people will outfit the robots are pretty diverse, and a lot of them have their pros and their cons. Like the sniper rifle thing that Dave was using. Those things are pretty badass, but man, it takes so long to reload, and I don't know. They are fun, but again, it's the accepted risk. So it's been very enjoyable. That's been one of the new ones for me at least. Yeah.
I notice now when I get online and stuff, you've been playing Secret World still. So is that still going pretty well?
Yes. Yeah. It's still more. Yeah. So yes. We'll all take a drink. Make a Secret World reference. Take a drink. I don't have any crazy screenshots. Well, actually, there were a couple of screenshots, but they're on my computer, so I'll have to show them next week when I host. But
that's a good. Keep going.
But
just thought of something.
Oh shit. Okay. But yeah, Secret World's still awesome. I feel like I've only barely scratched the surface. After putting in probably upwards of 60 to 70 hours, I feel like I've only barely scratched the surface of this game. There's just so much to do and so much to to see in the game and all the in-game lore, both literally and figuratively, because there's actual pieces of lore that you collect, but like just the in-game storyline and all the stuff that happens behind the scenes that's hinted in certain missions and further elaborated in other missions, it gets really impressive, and yeah, it's really awesome. So I'm still very enamored with the game, and very very hopeful that it continues to be this awesome all
Yeah.
the way through.
That it looks cool. I actually watched some videos on it, and I was like,
Oh,
okay,
nice.
this is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like this actually looks like a really good game. I don't think I would have fun with it being alone.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
personally don't think I would have fun being like in a solo aspect.
I agree.
Fully a group thing, like, but it does seem like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can pull one of these up. Okay, World of Warcraft has a selfie camera, and I noticed a while back when it got implemented, they have a selfie camera. So I've just been walking around taking these selfie images with this selfie camera to see how they would look, and this is the first time I've ever actually looked at them.
Can we bring that up on the stream? Or can I see it on the screen?
No,
Okay.
hold on. I'll
So you gotta
actually
find
just share the
find a
window
good
real
one.
quick. So let me edit this window capture real quick.
I think I'd heard about the selfie mode. That's because this is a relatively recent addition.
Yes. So
I think more games need a selfie mode.
they do. You're right.
So Wind Waker did it with the HD re-release on the
This
Wii
might
U,
be
and that's
huge,
been fun.
but we're gonna. I don't know. That didn't work.
Nailed it. Did you get all that?
Hold on. Let me just increase the size here, and we'll just go through them. Video capture. If the screen wasn't so far away, I probably would be able to do this faster.
It does feel like I'm squinting to
That's because you are.
see the text. Well, that's
I
exactly
think
what it
it's
is.
monitored too, but we're just gonna go with it. Oh yeah.
Nailed it.
All right, nailed that one. All right, screw it. I'll put these photos up later.
There you go.
Anyways, getting into it. Who is this kid? Make me mod. I'm good with power. I don't think so. I don't trust you. if someone just comes out and says they're good with power, I'm sorry. No. And
I promise I'll be completely
thanks,
responsible.
Chimpin, for the nice nameplates.
Oh.
I worked very hard on these. I maybe 5 minutes of actual work.
5 whole minutes.
Yeah, or less. Not sure.
Round up.
Anyways, I guess I should probably say what I've been playing.
Yeah.
I've been playing World of Warcraft off and on, GTA 5 still. Simple Planes. Have you ever heard of Simple Planes?
I don't
You ever heard
think
of
so.
Simple Rockets?
I don't think I have.
No. Okay, so Simple Rockets is kind of like a very dumbed down version of Kerbal Space Program.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's like putting blocks and blocks together. You make a rocket and
Yeah.
do whatever. And then Simple Planes is basically just think of Kerbal Space Program and you're building a plane. Like that's
enough.
pretty much what it is. I actually thoroughly enjoy that game for
Nice.
some reason. I don't really know why.
Oh.
It's very dull. Like there's not much to it, but
Uh-huh.
it's kind of cool to see what other people can build online,
Yeah.
and you can share your thing, and it's really easy. Other than that, I think yes, we're lovers. Thank you. And today I was actually talking with one of my friends, Chris, on Facebook, and he's kind of convincing me a little bit to go back to Guild Wars 2.
Nice. Oh, man.
I don't really want the PvE aspect, but I want the PvP. I actually watched a couple PvP videos, and the World vs. World actually looks like it has been like completely redone from whenever I was playing at the
Nice.
beginning. So it looks incredibly fast paced,
Oh.
kind of the PvP style that I am looking for. WoW PvP right now seems kind of dull. There's very overpowered classes, which all games have pretty overpowered classes.
Yeah.
I just kind of wish they did the gearing ability a little different. But he said that you don't have to spend a lot of time gearing up your character, and there's only like a 5% difference between the people who have the best gear, best in slot, compared to kind of if you have all right gear.
Oh,
so
that's good.
He said it's more about skill rather than
Yeah.
and more about timing than it is about gear. So I think I'm gonna try to do that.
Yeah.
So
sounds cool.
I spent the latter of today trying to get my Guild Wars 2 account back. Apparently I needed my CD key to get that back. So, but I got it back.
Oh, good.
Thankfully,
Okay.
Thankfully I did keep the act. I bought a physical copy and I did keep
even
it.
better.
So.
Nice.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing.
Okay.
I did play Eric in Hearthstone today
Oh shit.
and crushed his soul.
Oh
Eric.
shit. Is it that Eric or other Eric?
Yeah, no, it's this Eric.
Okay. Okay, good.
I crushed his soul.
Good.
It was he was in shambles afterwards. I'm just kidding. I'm sure we'll play like tonight or tomorrow, and he'll beat my ass.
He'll crush your soul.
Yeah.
It's only fair.
Anyways, we can get into it now.
Yeah.
I
It wasn't that bad. Sounds like a rematch is in order.
We'll have a stream rematch, Eric,
Oh,
where
shit.
you can show me your skills.
Show him your moves.
What's up, Captain? Hold on. Captain Fartbox. Your name is great. So and Hearthstone, Hearthstone is such a great game to play. Like, me and Eric were just playing on our phones.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's
with
wonderful.
them adding it to the phones has made it like 10,000% better because you can literally play it anytime. Eric was telling me when he was on his way to Chicago over the weekend, he had him and a couple of people went for his bachelor party because Eric's getting married at the end of the month.
Yes.
And he was telling me that they took the train and he on the train the whole way up there was playing Hearthstone.
That's awesome, man.
So I can tell his skill is pretty decent. I mean, I was kind of a little scared at some points playing him, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I put a couple new topics on here.
Yeah.
A couple we had talked about and stuff like that. Speaking of mobile, I guess we could just go right into it. Speaking of mobile games, major game companies going into mobile games.
Yeah.
So Blizzard has so far done pretty well. It's being a major game company, and first, for me it's really laggy. And holy forearm. Okay.
Do you even lift?
I don't actually. Thank you though. So Blizzard has been a big company, and then they finally just came into the mobile market, and they came in with Hearthstone, and they came in guns blazing, and it's freaking worked. Like they have a solid system. It works against all platforms. So like Android, iOS, anyone playing Hearthstone on Mac, it's all cross-platform. Everybody can play with each other.
That's awesome.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
One of the best things ever to come for anything on iOS or anything on Android.
No.
At least it gets rid of the shitty knockoffs that have been placed out there, and it kind of allows people to actually play the real game. So, but you were speaking of two other companies that kind of were thinking about getting into the mobile market. Who are those?
Yeah. Well, one that I read about not too long ago, and it's not new for them to be in the mobile market, is Sega. They've been in the mobile market for a while. They had put a whole bunch of Sonic games, some of which were just ports, like the Sonic 4 series, episodes 1 and 2, those were on the mobile market for a while. There were a bunch of non-Sonic games. I know that Jet Set Radio was on some mobile devices. Some of their older arcade games were on some of the mobile markets as well. So they had been in it for a while, but what struck me is that there was an article saying that they had recently removed a slew of some obscene number of games, like I want to say 20-something games from their mobile market, saying that they weren't up to standards. And Jet Set Radio was one of them. I mean, the game itself is awesome, but I'm guessing that maybe didn't control very well.
It probably controlled horribly.
So I could see that, or maybe it was having...
I could see them trying to use Jet Set Radio to do gyroscope with the phone. I think that.
I could see that too. Shoutouts to your
Hold on. What did I Love Nuts say? You assholes respond. So you say sup assholes, and then you gave me about 30 seconds to respond to you.
What's up, fellow asshole?
Hey, how's it going? I love nuts. And repping the 423. Hello.
Read the comments. Oh, we're trying.
Comment jerk off.
Yeah, gosh.
Don't be mean.
I'm gonna be mean. Can I be mean?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
you can be mean to I love nuts.
Oh. What's going on, folks? But yeah, with Sega being very odd about their suddenly just dropping all these games from their mobile markets, which I don't know. I understand. I know they went through this not too long ago with clearing out a bunch of the Sonic games that weren't that had some less than reputable reputations, like Sonic 06, for example, and Sonic Unleashed, trying to clean up their image, or not so much their image, but their reputation for all these games that, for one reason or another, came out and were disappointing for some. But I know that with Sega, I read something that said that they were going to be releasing something along the lines of, I could be getting the numbers wrong here, but something along the lines of 40-ish mobile games this year. In fact, they'll only be releasing one game this year that is not on a mobile platform.
Now, what do they call a mobile platform? Because I have a Vita,
Mhm.
and a lot of people have DS and stuff like that. Is
Yeah.
that considered a mobile market, or is mobile market now only considered to be like a phone mobile market?
I'm not 100% sure if I had, but based on the wording of the article that I read, it made me think it was phones and tablets.
Okay, so maybe this is considered mobile, and maybe that is considered handheld now. Is that
That's
kinda,
actually, I think that might exactly
is that
be
kind
it.
of what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that might be it. I would have to double check, but I think that might. I think that might be how they classify it at least. But it struck me that Sega, they've had some stumbling blocks over the years. I mentioned one of I've been watching Retsu Praise Sonic 06. What was it? Sonic 06 makes Sonic Boom looks like Sonic 06. Let's play of it, and it's been super entertaining, if not just seeing how a company with so much money and so much industry market share could turn out such a tremendous turd of a game. It's like there are parts of the game where I'm watching it and I feel embarrassed for Sega as I'm watching it. Everything you've heard about Sonic 06 is exactly correct.
Terrible.
It's like one of the worst games ever.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard.
And but seeing that they're really throwing themselves into the mobile market is interesting, and I hope it means that they're not in financial issues, because mobile games make people a lot of money. It's no secret.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy money because I'm glad Apple did the right thing, which is they no longer say the game is free. They say that the game has in-app purchases, and it says "get" with a plus sign, which means this game is free to download, but if you want to actually play the game, you gotta actually fork up the cash.
Yeah.
And people fork up the cash. Like people constantly. I mean, Candy Crush Saga is like the
Oh man.
that, and like I guess Farmville would be another thing, which was people easily forked up the amount of money that was required. Oh yeah, you can speed up your time, or you can get another a couple minutes in Candy Crush Saga or something like that. And here, just spend $2 for these gems or whatever the fuck they are.
It's chump change. $2. It's so little.
Yeah, it's so little.
You don't even notice.
Oh my God, you spent $1,000. I don't know what happened. Midstrug, what's your take on Ms. Pac-Man? I don't know. I haven't played it since I was a kid. I guess I could have played it on like the Dreamcast and like the Atari arcade
the arcade.
theater.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been a while. Since
it has been a
Pac-Man
while.
Was relevant, but
Oh great! What were we talking about?
Well, just with Sega.
Oh yeah. Oh good.
Their mobile market stuff.
Right. I don't think Sega's definitely hurting. I think so.
Yeah, probably, but
I think they see this as an easy way to get easy revenue, which is pretty right.
Yeah.
And hopefully they get to a point where they start making games again. But what's the last good Sega game?
Oh, that's a scary question. I mean the last Sonic game was a bit of a bust. Sonic Boom has been whispered as being equally bad to 06, and I question that just because Sonic 06 was such a shit show. But I know Sonic Boom tanked pretty hard. I know that with a lot of their other non-Sonic games, it seems like lately they've been mediocre-ish. And this is a lot of this is secondhand. I haven't played a lot of their recent games, so I really can't say myself. But a lot of what I do know is just from hearsay. So it's hard for me to really comment on a lot. But I like to think that not all of it has been bad. I hope it's not all been bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anyone in the chat has been keeping up with Sega's games, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it, just because I haven't really been keeping up as much as I should have been.
Right.
But
I mean,
it's a fair question.
I don't really own a system that. I mean, they don't really make PC games, so I really don't.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
If it is, it's just a port from something else. Yeah. I guess Sega, their other major platform that they've been releasing on was Nintendo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's been decent for them, but again, it's a lot of it is just a matter of. I guess not so much trying to reinvent themselves, but trying to find. It's like they're trying to find their place in the gaming market right now. I feel like they've kind of been in kind of a weird place over the last 5 years or so, and I think a lot of that has been realizing, oh man, maybe these games that we're moving from the markets are not performing well. They're not being they're not being reviewed or received very well. What can we do to change about ourselves to in our internal processes and such to make sure that what we're putting out is quality. Hopefully, this mobile emergence works out for them. I don't want to see Sega go away. I like their IPs and such. So
Yeah, I like Sega's IPs as well. I would hope that if they do go down, I hope their IPs don't go with them.
That's a very fair point because a lot of companies would rather self-destruct than see their stuff to go in into another's wing. But a girl can dream. The other big one, which this might be a little distressing to you, is Konami.
Well, I figured Konami was going to come into the market pretty soon.
Well, it sounds like they're really geared up to go ham into it.
What are these games that they're making? What are these mobile games?
Yeah.
Are they... I'm 100% certain that they're these in-app purchase games. I'm
Probably.
almost 100% sure because that is the only real way people are making shitloads of money right now on mobile is making these games that have in-app purchases. I mean, it's just like the fucking bullshit DLC stuff for consoles,
Yeah.
But on mobile, they... for some reason can do it easier. I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
But it's an easier way for people to be like, oh, I'll spend 99 cents on this every single day.
Yep.
Great, you're giving them $1 every single day you play, along with you and, however many other people, 1,000 people are also playing this game.
Yeah.
So easily $1,000 from just that one app, that one thing that you've purchased. But other people are also purchasing shit for $5 and stuff like that. God, I don't want them to go that way, but, I mean, honestly, they're useless to me anyways if they're not going to create any type of game. Is this shit on You're... I'm guessing my brother's watching.
Oh!
Hello. No, I'm pretty sure it's your shitty hotel internet that you're watching. Hello, let me show the preview here. Is anyone else actually lagging? If anyone else is in chat? Because I want to see if this is actually lagging.
Because it looks like...
It looks like it's not lagging at all. Okay, no. It's your shitty hotel internet. I'm sorry.
Hotels are known for having shitty Wi-Fi, so... It does happen.
You should pay for the upgrade.
Oh,
okay,
God.
so Eric actually said he's good. So.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, back to our...
Yeah,
but,
with Konami.
okay, so they're not making any kind of games that I... They're not making anything that I want anymore. I am not a consumer of any Konami products currently. I mean... they were going to sell me on Silent Hills, but they decided to go ahead and just let Kojima fade off.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess they're going the right way for their company. They're going the wrong way for me, but they weren't doing anything for me anyway, so I really could care less about them at this point.
Were you ever a fan of the Metal Gear games?
Yeah, big fan. I love Metal Gear Solid. I love all of the Metal Gear games. I love the lore behind Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Even though it's shitty, spotty, and everywhere, and they keep making backstories for everybody.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the game quite a bit.
Okay.
I mean, I'll never. My favorite Metal Gear Solid game by far is Snake Eater.
Nice.
I absolutely love that game. I love the Cold War feel about it. The music was awesome,
Yes.
and something I guess I was going to talk about for probably our next topic was unique final bosses. Is the final boss in that game had its big boss, or its big boss. You don't expect Big Boss to be a female at this point,
right?
You don't know who she is unless you've obviously read manga or something like that. But you get to this point in the game, you get to the last part, and it's just this field of this beautiful field. It's green. It's a bunch of flower petals that are scattered across, and you can you're hiding in them from her, and it's just this amazing final battle between you and her, and. Yeah, I love Metal Gear Solid. That was they do so well with what they got. The overhead camera, spy action, they got that. And hiding in boxes. Nobody does hiding in boxes better than Metal Gear Solid.
No one does it better. Yeah, well, I know that with Metal Gear Solid, it sounds like Jack can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like they are going to continue with putting out Metal Gear Solid 5. I don't think that's been canceled, so they're at least continuing with that, but I think after that is where a lot of people are swearing off of them. Konami, that is.
Yeah.
And I can't really say that I blame them. and it tugs at my heartstrings a little bit because Konami are the ones that own the Bomberman rights. So if anyone were to do a Bomberman game, they'd be the ones to do it. And if I had to guess, that will probably be one of the mobile games that shows up. If not already, that is. I'm sure there's already Bomberman clones out there, but
there is.
that's probably on their mobile global strategy platform corporate speak.
There was when you were speaking of Bomberman, there was actually a game. There was a game that people were creating for mobile, that they kickstarted, and when they brought it out, people were saying it was too hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said it was insanely difficult. Nobody could play it other than the developers that actually knew the concept of the game.
Nice.
So it kind of backfired on them.
Yikes.
For being too hard. I like hard games personally, and I feel like a hard game to me is something that I wish and strive to master.
Yeah.
It's basically any type of old game that you can think of.
Yeah.
Games are fucking difficult.
Yes.
And you literally just had to muscle through it until you figured out the pattern, you
Yeah.
figured out everything. I guess the way games are now is everybody wants something fast-paced and something that they can do. If they can't do it, then they just have something else to move to. So, you keep going, though. I don't even know where you were at.
Oh, no, just with Konami and the weird kind of state that they're in right now. It does sound like they're setting themselves up to go ham into the mobile market, and a lot of people are bummed. I've been seeing lots of photoshopped images of there'll be like a funeral procession, and the coffin will say Konami on it, and Snake will be holding one of the pallbearers, and one of the protagonists from Silent Hill is on there too. Like you know what they're trying to say, and it bums me out. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't played many of the Metal Gear Solid games. This is not of my decision. I want to play them, but there's only so many hours in the day. So I haven't had really a whole lot of exposure to Konami. There's that too. But I do have platforms, at least a few platforms. Play some of the older ones, like 1 and 2. But yeah, it bums me out just because these are series that are near and dear to a lot of people's hearts and have been around for a long time, and it sucks to see it end this way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It gives me some weird feels about mobile gaming in general. I don't say that I dislike it, but seeing what it's bringing about in the industry does give me some sads. So I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about mobile gaming. It probably is, a lot of it is because I don't really play games on my cell phone. So maybe if I did, I would feel differently. But I have a hard time seeing it quite as a positive emergence.
I used to have quite a bit of games on my cell phone, but then I realized I didn't play them. So I just ended up deleting them. I think the most recent game that I actually had, I didn't have any games up until Hearthstone. I think actually since I've owned this phone, technically, the 5S, I haven't. I think I actually had one game. I had this mountain climbing game or something like that. But other than that, Hearthstone was like the one that I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go download that. I mean, they eat up space pretty quickly though.
Yeah, and battery. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it when it comes to mobile games, but it's weird, and I wish I had a better picture of how I felt about it, but because so many companies are throwing themselves into it, I don't know. It makes me a little worried about the whole quality versus money thing that a lot of companies are faced with. And like we've talked about in the past, these game companies are out to make money. It's a business. Yep. They got to pay the bills.
And everybody wants to make record profits.
They do.
It's like the one thing that companies want to do is record profits.
Oh yeah.
And, they got to find a way to do that. So mobile games, I guess, is what the future holds for temporary purposes. Is what a lot of game companies are unfortunately going to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess.
Hooray!
Alright, let's get into a happier topic. I kind of spoke briefly about Metal Gear Solid and how that awesome last boss.
Yeah.
Big boss. Most Metal Gear Solid games have an awesome final boss.
Yes, they do.
They do have cool bosses throughout the game, though.
Yeah, they do.
I would say in Snake Eater, the final boss is awesome, but not the best boss.
Okay.
I would say the coolest boss, the coolest kind of encounter, and the topic is unique final bosses. It doesn't technically even have to be a final boss. It's what you consider to be the boss of the game. What is the most difficult or was the most fun encounter?
Yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater, you become across this. I can't remember his name for the life of me. I'm guessing he's the Hidden or something like that. But he's a sniper, right? And he's like 90 years old.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
So, and you run into this area and he's shooting at you, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is you can.
You can cheese it.
You can cheese it.
Yeah.
You can actually stop your game there. You can save it. You can exit the game, go into the system settings for PlayStation 2, and set the clock forward. Right, a bunch of like a year or 2 years. Restart the game. The game will believe that the time is correct.
Yeah.
And you can actually just run up and loot the guy's body because he died of old age.
Yes.
He literally it goes by what the date is in the PlayStation system. So like you
That's
can go up to
awesome.
him and he's already dead because he died of old age.
Yep.
Which is fucking hilarious. I mean, it's not the first time that Metal Gear Solid has done something pretty cool.
Something
with that.
meta, yeah.
Psycho Mantis is like the
Yeah.
go-to thing for Metal Gear Solid 1, which is he read your memory card, which is the creepiest shit ever. Like he, I'll never forget. I had like fucking like Jet Moto I played on PlayStation, and he was like, "Oh, Jet Moto, that's a good game. That's a good."
It's like, what the fuck, man?
He would mention the games that you played. He would be like, "Oh, you played a lot of time," depending on like the size of the game. It was he was an awesome that was like an awesome encounter because it breaks that wall between you and the game, and you're like, "Oh, this is fucking creepy."
Yeah, and it fits with Psycho Mantis' motif. He's all like floating and all mind ready, so it's how appropriate that he would reach through the game like that. It's so freaking cool.
The other one I just wanted to bring up briefly was Final Fantasy is actually pretty cool. Every single Final Fantasy game, the final boss technically isn't the final boss because there's always a boss that has like maxed out fucking everything.
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII, the final boss was Sephiroth. Yeah. Not technically the final boss. Sephiroth kind of matched your level on what you were when you went to face him. So you could face him at like level 40 and he would be scaled down to like a level 40.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
So it's actually easier to beat Sephiroth as early as you can.
Yeah.
In order to get to the final part. Now, what you do is you save and then after the game, whatever brings you back. You save before you come back to the last save point or whatever. And if you have to go face Ruby and Diamond weapons.
Okay.
Which are these like giant monsters that kind of roam the planet or whatever. They're the hardest motherfucking bosses ever. The one called Ruby Weapon will actually take your party and just get rid of them. He just sinks them into holes. Very cool encounters. The same for Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy. All these Final Fantasies have these extra bosses that are actually the test of your skill.
Yep.
Final Fantasy X has I know the newest one. Has these things called Dark Aeons, which are the Aeons you collect, but you can go back and face these Dark Aeons, which fucking destroy your soul. Like they have full health. They have or Ultimate Weapon, which is in the Omega Caves. He has the max health in the game, which is 999,000 health.
Naturally.
And he can one shot whoever he wants.
Yep.
So you're spending most of your time reviving your party and stuff. You just got to find weird tactics to get around it. Trying to think of any other cool, unique battles that I consider more final boss. What do you think?
Well, I know that when I brought the topic up, it came from a discussion that was talking about boss fights that were unique, one way or the others, in what could be positive or negative ways. Like one that struck me, and I thought this was a good point, was somebody brought up the final boss in Dark Souls. For those who haven't played, it's not really much of a spoiler. The final boss is the Lord of Cinder, Gwyn, and he is. You find out throughout the lore that he was the one that garnered the the original Age of Fire. And at that point, he was Lord of the First Flame, Gwyn. But as he got hollow, as the generations went on, and as he got older and became undead, and eventually became hollow, his power subsided, and instead of being Lord of the First Flame, he became the Lord of Cinder as his flames simmered. And a lot of people felt disappointed by the end boss of Dark Souls because he was. By the time you reach Lord Cinder, you've seen some shit. You've faced Ornstein and Smog. You've faced the gargoyles. You've faced
the gargoyles.
Seath the Scaleless. You've faced all these bosses that just wreck your shit. And in all fairness, Gwyn, I thought he was challenging. He whooped my sorry ass a bunch of times before I found out the right pattern to use against him. But a lot of people were like, "Wow, that's actually not too difficult, and you can just parry repost him, and he's a chump." But that's kind of the point. His power has been reduced. He's not the beast that he used to be. So it kind of makes sense from a narrative perspective that the final boss is kind of a chump compared to Seath and compared to Ornstein and Smog, because he's past his prime, and that's why when you kill him, you were given a choice. So I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, there's a narrative choice that you have to make on. Oh well, he's dead. Now what do I do? And you can branch it out either way. There's a good ending and a bad ending, and it's not what you think it is. It's really impressive how it all makes sense from a narrative perspective, even if it breaks the norm of what we expect what a final boss should be. The ultimate big boss or the ultimate challenge.
I guess it's all depending on what you think what is your definition of a final boss.
Yeah.
Is it the final boss of the story, or is it the final boss of the actual game? Like, is it something you strive to get to, and once you get to that point, you have seen it all.
Yeah.
Like, you've been there, done that at that point, you know?
Kingdom
Chip had brought up
Hearts.
a good, awesome game. Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite games of all time. The final boss, it's not. I wouldn't consider him a final boss because he's actually kind of easy.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can go back to the arena, which is where all the good shit is. You know, where all the actual bosses are. Sephiroth by far in that game is the hardest boss.
I've heard he is such a bastard.
It took me so many tries to beat him. You have to figure out his pattern, and then he has. Have you ever played the Commodore 64?
Actually, I've never
played the Commodore.
Yeah, I have not either. Actually,
my friend Brad has a Commodore 64. I believe.
Does he really?
Yeah, no, is it Amiga? I think he has both, to be honest.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've never actually personally played on a Commodore though.
Oh, so, I have not either.
But as far as like Sephiroth goes, he had 3 different stages. So like when you went in, like you had to like roll between his blades or whatever, and then you would do. Finally, you caught on to the pattern, and you were like, okay, I got this. But then you had to like master that pattern the entire fight. The fight was like 5 minutes long. You know,
gross.
Yeah, it's
man.
As far as like a single player experience, I think Kingdom Hearts nailed it in my book for one of the best experiences I've had actually doing a boss.
Nice, man. So, this is the original Kingdom Hearts.
This is the original. This is Kingdom Hearts 1. Yeah. I know that they brought him back for a couple other ones, but I mean, it's not the same without like the original clunky-ass mechanics and shit. So.
I'd always heard about that Sephiroth fight. I've never played... Actually, that's not true. I played a little bit of the first Kingdom Hearts game. But yeah, I'd always heard that fight is a bastard. But it's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
I think it kind of smacks of the Dark Souls methodology of they throw a crazy, insurmountably difficult boss, and like you mentioned, you just have to learn the patterns. You throw dead bodies at it until you can climb on those dead bodies and finally beat that bastard.
Yep. I mean, that's literally what you do. You literally just throw yourself into it every time.
Yep.
You die, you learn from your mistakes, you try again.
What else can you do?
And I remember my, 12-year-old self just constantly being like, please, just let this go right for me.
For once, yeah. And that's actually a really good point, because some bosses are just cheap. There's a difference between being difficult and being challenging. So there's also a discussion to be had about that as well. But it sounds like that's a good mix of challenge without being unfair.
I mean, in Dark Souls, I would consider the gargoyles to be probably my favorite fight of that whole game. God, as far as being so magnificent, you walk in. Yeah. You're fighting one gargoyle on a rooftop already.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're like, I got this bastard.
Yep.
And then some other one's like, hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
I'm just coming down to say hello. And then you got to fight 2 of them off. So you have to, being the first time in the battle, you have to instantly improvise. And you're like, fuck, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, I died the first time, obviously.
Oh, God.
Because I was like, I don't know what to do at this point. But it was like, seeing that happen, you're like, they did this right. Like,
they did.
They did this amazingly well. Like, I know that this part can be beat, obviously. Yep. But it's going to take me a minute to actually understand what I need to do. I ended up, what my strategy was I fucking locked myself in, like, basically near the corner where the edge is to, like, the church. And when he did, like, his little tail thing, it would actually miss me being in the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was able to actually run out and do shit.
God, those fucking gargoyles, man. I think... They're not the most tough. They're not the most difficult boss in the game, but I think relative to like how much experience you've had in the game, and not experiences in Souls, but like actually playing the game and learning the mechanics of it, I thought, for me at least, it was the most challenging boss fight of the entire game. More so than Ornstein, more so than anything, because it happens fairly early in the game.
Very early. It's
It's the second major boss. Yeah.
Well, would you consider the boss inside the prison to be the first boss?
Oh, that's a good point. So yeah, third boss, because
Okay.
I would say it's legit.
What's the second one?
The Taurus demon on the bridge,
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
and you don't have to fight him before the gargoyles, but the overall narrative is that you more likely to encounter them. But like just because by that point I'd only been playing for a few hours, they throw this bastard
Yeah.
at you. It's a good way to cut your teeth because if you can beat the gargoyles, you probably have what it takes to figure out the rest of the bosses.
Yeah.
So it's a good litmus test to see if you have the metal to get through it. But yeah, love it.
I like boss battles like that. I like boss battles that are like test your skill
Yeah.
at the time. You know, some boss battles are very cheap. Like there
Yeah.
are some boss battles are like, is this really what my skill's supposed to be at this point?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's so easy that you could literally do it like blindfolded.
Yeah.
And then there's some, you know, some bosses that require work. Final Fantasy does a pretty good thing, and so did Persona, which was
yeah.
that. I mean, if you didn't, it's a grindy game. It's genuinely grindy. Once you come up to a boss battle, that is the test of are you a high enough level to pass this area, because
Are your numbers high enough?
are your numbers high enough? That's
Yep.
basically all it is. I mean, if you aren't high enough, you're just gonna get fucking demolished. You're gonna spend all your time healing. You're not gonna do any damage and stuff. So, yeah, Final Fantasy does it pretty well as far as being an RPG game.
Yeah.
Testing you on the ability of your, like your skill.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, some games too easy at bosses. I'm trying to think of a game. I guess I just don't play shitty games. I don't really know.
Shots fired.
I'm trying to. You know what the fucking hardest shit is? Dave Willman bought me a fucking game called Secret of the Magic Crystal. It is a unicorn game. You breed unicorns and you race them. Okay. That game's fucking difficult at times. I'm not even gonna lie. It throws shit out in the open at you.
That's awesome. What is this game called?
I want to say it's Secret of the Magic Crystal. I'm gonna obviously have it.
You
in
have
my,
to look it up. Yeah.
My Steam library here if I can find my mouse.
That sounds so whimsical. I love it. And what part of it is so challenging? Is it the
Secret of the Magic
Secret
Crystal.
of the Magic Crystal?
That is what it is.
Oh, I can tell from the screenshot what kind of game it is. Yes.
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 Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
conveys a lot.
Yeah. You see that girl? She's the fucking demon. She's the
I
devil.
don't doubt it. Yes. How much did this cost, Dave, when he gifted it to you?
I'm only guessing $2.
Was that
I could
$2 well spent, Dave? That's awesome.
Oh my god! I did buy it for Eric on his birthday. I think I did, Eric. I think I did. Did you ever play it? That's the question.
Oh god, I don't know if he's gonna want to based on this glowing review that you've given it.
It was a good game.
Oh man, good
And
stuff.
shut up, whore. I'll watch nothing.
Oh man. Well, I know when I was originally like looking at this discussion that led me to like the whole thing about weird and unique bosses. There was one that I was really struck by when I beat the first Fallout game. Fallout 1 for the PC back when it was all
Oh, I actually never
isometric.
played Fallout 1.
It's a bitch. It is quite a game.
I started the Fallout series with Fallout 3.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
most people, I started out when they actually made it into like a full world.
Oh, regift. I promise.
If Steam had that ability,
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can add it to your add it to your inventory when you accept it, but yeah, once you've added it to your library, it's
if you
done.
haven't added it to your library, go ahead and re-gift it to me, and I'll gift it
to me
to Alex, and he can play through it and get all the achievements.
every single one. You know it, motherfucker. I will become the Unicorn Prince, the Unicorn King. But yeah, with Fallout 1, back when it was all isometric, and like, I guess it would have been early '90s when the first two Fallout games came out, and it was quite a game. I was really impressed by it. It did a lot of things really well, especially relative to how it came out. It had a lot of different branching story things where based on certain events, certain story things will occur. The game itself is on like global timelines. So after so many hundreds of days, if you haven't gotten a water chip, your populace will die.
Really?
And
Okay.
And even if you get the water chip and another so many hundreds of in-game days go by, your camp gets raided and it's an auto game over. And I hope you didn't save, but like anywhere around there, because if you did, then you're shit out of luck and you just have to start the game over from scratch.
Multiple saves,
So-
people.
Yeah, there were a lot of it was quite a challenge on a number of levels. But yeah, the end, but like the story stuff was really well done. Depending based on what things you achieve, the very ending kind of gives a summary of because you did this, this, and this. Here's how this played out, and it really went above and beyond uh, to really give you a nice immersive feel for the universe. It really feels like your actions really cause these gigantic ripples to play out. But one thing that I liked so much about the final boss, well, one of the things I didn't like was that he was hard as balls. He was a hard piece of shit, and felt a little cheap at times. But before you fight him, there's this really elaborate dialogue, and I didn't know this at the time because I didn't really invest very many points in my character's intelligence. I wish I had, because what happens is that the final boss, if you do this one thing, collect this one item, and have this amount of a stat, you can convince the boss that he's fucking insane and that he should kill himself. And if you have all the right stuff, he will do that, and that's the end. You don't have to fight him. He's like, oh my god, you're right, I'm a monster. I'm gonna self-destruct this place, you should leave. And you go, okay, and then you leave. I had all that stuff, but I didn't have the right stats, so I had to fight him the old-fashioned way. But I looked up afterwards, I was like, dude, that's fucking, well, depressing on one hand, but also really impressive, because, I mean, that's the whole thing, it's like a trope by this point. The whole James Bond villain speech, before I kill you, Mr. Bond, I must tell you my crazy plan to take over the world. Having this a long, elaborate dialogue sequence is kind of silly, but the reason it was there, and depending on what dialogue options you select, and obviously in the case of the intelligence thing, I didn't have the one golden one available to me, but yeah, you can totally win the argument, and the dude's like, wow, I fucking suck, see you later, and it was, for a game that came out so long ago, for it to do something that intelligent really struck me as really innovative, and I haven't played Fallout 2 yet, but that's short on my list of single player games to get through, so I have high hopes that it.
I've actually been wanting to play Fallout 2. I've read up on Fallout 1, so I'm kind of up on the actual lore aspect of Fallout 1. I do want to kind of play Fallout 2 because I want to experience that.
I've heard it's even tougher, so gird your loins.
And then, Fallout 3 was great. That was a really good game.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I want to get through this game, so I can also get to 3 in New Vegas, because I've heard so many fun things.
Oh, you haven't played them?
I've never touched them.
Holy shit.
I'm going all the way back, and I'm doing a clean sweep all the way through, so
I'm excited. Off, 3 has an amazing storyline.
Mm-hmm.
New Vegas, good storyline. The side quests are the best.
Mm-hmm.
I think New Vegas beats out side quests 100%. And Mr. X says, Alex, can you play it at Starbucks while he's grooming your beard and wearing skinny jeans? Hello, Danny the Tranny. These people's names,
dude, your screen names
absolutely hilarious.
Dude, your screen name game is on point.
Danny the Tranny.
Oh man.
And then Eric said that he must have redeemed it.
Oh shucks.
Well,
guess you'll have to play it then, buddy.
That means that you'll have to play it.
Yep.
You're gonna come over here, and we're gonna stream it together. We're gonna play Secret of the Magic Crystal together.
You'll speedrun it. It'll be a speedrun race that you'll live stream.
And afterwards, we'll both be homo. So we'll both be.
So that's how it happens.
Gay.
That's how it happens.
That is how the transformation happens.
Talk to your kids about Secret of the Magic Crystal, or else this is what happens. Yep, I knew it. But the Fallout, yes, with Fallout 3.
Oh yeah.
got off track there.
Sorry.
No, it happens. Unicorns are distracting.
Fallout 3. The voice actor Liam Neeson does voice acting in that. He is the main character's father.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Which is really cool.
I freaking love Liam Neeson, dude. He's so freaking awesome. Man.
He is. He dies in every fucking movie. I hate it.
Yeah.
Except for Taken. He
just kills everything.
He has not died, but he is seeking vengeance on all the times that he has died in movies and is attempting to redeem himself.
Yeah.
And then New Vegas was great. And then most likely a new Fallout game is going to be released at E3.
Or announced. Released.
Yeah, released. It should be. Fallout is available, guys. It's available.
They're going to Dreamcast it.
Here you go. We've not tested this, but you wanted it.
Whether you wanted it or not.
Will be announced, most likely.
Yes,
probably.
E3. That's what a lot of people are hoping.
Because they don't ever do conferences, and then magically they are.
Some shit's gonna get real. Some shit's going down, and I'm excited.
So, let me streamline into another topic here.
Let's go.
Speaking of like E3 and all these expos love these motion control
Oh yeah.
games. It kind of goes back to mobile market games, and
Yeah.
some type of handheld games like motion controls. Nintendo fucking loves motion controls.
Yes.
PlayStation tried motion controls.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't really care for it. It still has 6-axis in the new
Yeah.
ones. How do you feel about motion controls? I personally fucking hate motion controls.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a person for motion.
Yeah.
I enjoy sitting in one place
Oh.
with my controller for just hours on end,
Oh.
and then eventually stretching
Mhm.
and hearing my bones crack.
That's understandable. Yeah. I'm kind of split on motion controls. I feel like it has to be done right. Do you guys like the? Do we like?
Do you like Synap?
Actually, is that an acronym? I don't know what that would stand
it's
for.
probably something derogatory. I'm gonna go ahead and look it up on Google.
Yeah, should I be offended? I don't really know. But with motion controls, I feel like it has to be done right. There have been cases where it has been done right, most of which were the first party games that Nintendo made for the Nintendo Wii. So I mean, I freaking love Super Mario Galaxy. I think that did the motion control stuff well, not just in the basic controls of how Mario moves around in his spin attack, but like the levels where where you're on top of a boulder or like a rolling boulder and you have to like guide it around.
Only a child would put this.
Well, it's Urban Dictionary.
Read
so.
it backwards.
I'm an adult.
Thank you.
Yes, that's good.
Danny the Tranny, your name implies exactly what I would think that you are. So, yes.
But yeah, just using Mario Galaxy as an example of motion controls done really well. I mean, Nintendo always does a good job of making making their hardware sing with the software with the games that they put out. So I mean, usually they tend to do a pretty good job. I know that the Mario Party game's been a little hit and miss with motion controls over the last couple releases.
I know that they implemented the. Me and Amanda play on emulator. We play Dolphin emulator. We've been using to play Mario Party.
Nice.
For I'm guessing GameCube is what it is.
Yeah, it probably would have been GameCube.
And I noticed that they fucking love trying to get us to use a microphone. Like, all the time. Like,
oh, yes!
Mario Party's like, hey, will you hook up your microphone for this one? It reminds me so much of, like, me playing Dirt 3. Like, Dirt 2 was such a great game, and then I go to Dirt 3, and they're like, hey, why don't you upload that on YouTube? Why don't you upload this video on YouTube? Cool trick. Why don't you upload that on YouTube? They would fucking pause the game for you mid doing a trick. And I'd be like, what the fuck? And he's like, dude, that was an awesome trick. You should upload that on YouTube. And I'm like, alright, you need to fucking chill out with this YouTube.
Yeah. We got a badass over here. Dirt 3? Yeah, chill out, Dirt 3. God. Yeah, that would get annoying. And yeah, I'm trying to think which game that would have been, which specific game would have been, but there was one of them that came bundled with a microphone.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
So that might be it, yeah.
That's probably what it is.
And yeah, if you don't have it, then I could totally see that being very obnoxious. And that's another peripheral device that never really took off for Nintendo. I mean, can't blame them for trying, but yeah, that one never really went anywhere. But yeah, I know that Mario Galaxy, I thought it worked well. Haters gonna hate. I enjoyed Skyward Sword. I thought that was motion done well. I know that some people did have issues with it, and I really don't know what factors would play into that. I hope that there wasn't, faulty hardware or anything, but I just know with some people it just didn't quite click. But I never had any problems with it, and I loved it. I really enjoyed the multiple uses, like hell, when you're fighting Girahim the very first time, and you go to swing at him, and he just grabs your sword and takes it from your hand, and it's like, what is this bullshit? And you're just like, dude, you can't just do that, so you have to aim it around where his hand is, or else he'll just grab your sword and make you look like a bitch.
Yeah. I forgot that is what that is. Was that the first Zelda to offer motion?
I guess technically Twilight Princess on the Wii would have been, but Skyward Sword was that came out on the GameCube and the Wii, so it's kind of
did it really have
in
real
between
motion controls? I mean, or was it just more or less like swing?
The swinging was pretty much waggle physics, but you would aim with the control.
Okay.
I mean, there were and some of the puzzles. I mean, it was legit enough, but it was made in such a way where you could still play on the GameCube and not miss out on the key pieces. Skyward Sword, you couldn't do a GameCube version of that, so it required the motion. but I thought it was done well. But for every example of motion games done well, there's 10 to 20 examples of it being done shittily, and there's tons and tons of shitty implementations of motion controls. So I feel like they can be done right, but I think it's extremely tough to get it right.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's worth it, that's where it's up for debate.
I mean, motion controls have potential, and I've seen a little bit of potential with VR. Like people do motion controls decent with VR as far as like having like an inanimate object in your hand, and it acts as a gun on the screen and stuff like that. That works. That's pretty cool. I'm not a believer in motion controls because I think sometimes motion controls to me they feel lagged. Like,
they can.
I feel like motion controls should move at the pace of my hand.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like I move and it's like it moves
latency,
a couple seconds after, or not even a second after, but it's got that latency, and me being me, I just can't.
Yeah.
It throws me off. So.
Yeah. That's one of the, from what I understand, that's one of the biggest challenges with people getting the Oculus Rift to work on games like Grand Theft Auto 5, where there's not built-in support, but they're trying to use the development kits to get it to work on games where it's not built in. And from what I understand, that's one of the biggest things is to like, one of the biggest challenges is like when you have the peripheral and you move your head just a little bit, does it move at the same time in game, does it move at the same, like from a 1-to-1 ratio, or do you have to really swing your head to get your person to move a little bit? Yeah. Or if you move a little bit, does the person whip around and give you nausea? So that's a really tough thing to fine tune, and when it's bad, like you're describing, and it's really noticeable. So man, that's sort of shit I imagine probably takes a lot more to develop, probably a lot more fine tuning, and the fact that it involves a device that has a lot of like extra dimensions, like the 6-axis with the PS3 and PS4.
PS3 and PS4, yeah.
I mean, man, that's a lot of extra direct dimensions and such. That's a lot tougher than just a button on off or even an analog stick. So I don't know. I hope that motion controls don't go away completely, but I do hope that those that saw it as a gimmick realize that it's not just an auto win button. It's not just a auto like sell a game button, but it has to be done right. You have to put the money and the development hours into it. I don't know. I like what I've seen so far when it works, but I can totally understand feeling discouraged when it sucks, because when it sucks, it sucks.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Midstroke, I got your back with Zelda. That's always good stuff.
Speaking of Zelda, what the fuck? Okay, so what is Nintendo doing with Zelda?
Well, I know that they've got the Wii U game that I think they've announced will be coming out in 2016. They originally had it scheduled for 2015. And nobody at all was surprised when they were like,
are they supposed to be doing an E3 conference?
I don't know if Nintendo's doing an E3 conference this year. They, historically they have not, and they would instead do kind of their own thing around E3. And because last year they did the whole, was it last year or was it 2 years ago? Well, I guess 2 years ago was when they broke the norm and said, we're not going to do an E3 thing. We're just going to do our own thing, like alongside E3.
That's right.
And I think they did the same thing last year. This year, they did make the announcement about, like, the Nintendo World Championships and all these other things. But, again, I'm not 100% sure if they'll be doing the actual presentation at E3 or if it's just to kind of coincide with around the same time. So that I don't know. But yeah, with Zelda, it's going to be 2016. They've given some nice demos of it that look really, really damn cool. It's apparently very open world-ish, so very expansive and very pretty looking. Not a whole lot is known from a narrative standpoint. We knew fairly early on that Skyward Sword was going to be the very first in the Hyrule Historia timeline, and that you kind of got some ideas.
Speaking of Hyrule Historia, I wanted to pick up the book, but I kind of been reading online and stuff. So Skyward Sword is that the incarnation of is that like the beginning of the Zelda series?
Yes.
Okay.
At least the earliest of all the games that have come out. That's
what is the Skyward Sword? The Skyward Sword, the Master Sword?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like the actual term Skyward Sword that they use in game does eventually become the Master Sword. So
okay.
It's the kind of thing where It's kind of a nebulous term, but yeah, I think it's been a couple years, but I'm pretty sure that is the Skyward Sword.
Okay.
Yeah, or the Master Sword rather.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was of course
Is
the
there
last
a form of Ganondorf?
in Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Really?
The thing that Girahim is trying to summon is what eventually becomes Ganondorf. It's I'll be honest, the final fight. Actually, I mean, the final fight, just talking about boss fights, was epic as fuck, I thought. It was, at least for me, because in Skyward Sword, they did something a little weird where, depending on what shield you have, it has a durability. Unless you get the Super Mega Shield, which is pretty much the Hylian Shield. And I never did get that. I was using the best one you could get just with normal money.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I was like, I don't block stuff a whole lot, I'll be fine. And then I thought, I can't remember what his actual name is. But the final boss of Skyward Sword, and he was whooping my sorry ass. I would go to block, and when he hits you while you're blocking, it still hurts you, and it like damages the shit out of your shield.
Really?
And it was to the point where I was down to a half a heart. Well, I had a couple hearts left. He hits me, I block it, breaks my shield. I'm down to half a heart. He's almost dead, and oh, it's so epic. And I did fucking beat him. But man, it was so cinematic. It was so fucking cool. But from a narrative standpoint, the ending to Skyward Sword, pretty much, and this isn't really spoiling anything just because we know so much about the timeline by this point, but it pretty much becomes clear that what you're fighting will reincarnate itself a number of ways into either Ganon or Ganondorf or Majora or
have they ever explained exactly who Majora is?
The Majora's Mask?
Yeah, because I know Majora's Mask, that wasn't Majora himself, you know?
Right.
Like, obviously Majora is some type of other entity, you know? Because what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Who is, have they ever explained who Majora is?
There have been a lot of theories, and I think I heard somewhere that there was an official word, but what I can't remember is if what I'm thinking of is the official word or if it's just another one of the theories. One of the theories is that it's just like the manifestation of like the collective sadness and terribleness in Termina,
Okay.
from the people there. So it wasn't so much an evil thing that existed; it was something people's creation.
But he was in Hyrule, though.
It was in Termina. Termina was in Majora's Mask area.
But I'm saying, like, in the beginning of the game, is Link already in Termina?
Yeah, he's like riding into Termina.
So I was under the impression that Termina was an entirely different plane of existence.
I think it's just like another part of the overall planet that this is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Because I thought Link could never go home. That was my whole fear. Was like, oh well, he's never going home.
I think because you're right. It's like a continuation of the child story. Yeah. But I think from there, I think he chooses to leave Hyrule and winds up in Termina, which is where it all ends up. I think. The only other possibility would be that Termina is like within Hyrule, like the overall. Like if Hyrule is like a continent, Termina is a country. Okay. But I think it's a separate, like very far removed. I think. But yeah, I know that I think there was an official word. I would have to double check, but lots of really interesting fan theories about where he came from because so much of Majora's Mask is not explained, which is what fuels all these crazy fan conspiracies, which are really entertaining.
Majora's Mask, man. I've personally never I've beat Majora's Mask, but I haven't beat it. I didn't get to experience Majora's Mask as a child. I got to experience it as an adult playing it on an emulator.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to experience it as a child and probably reading from like a strategy guide to get the final mask, which is called the mask, and you become the fierce deity.
Dude, it's so cool.
That is one of the coolest concepts ever.
So cool.
You become basically a god when facing, any boss or Majora.
Yeah. And dude, it's not even a fight. It's just a curb stomp when you're the fierce deity, dude. It's so fucking badass.
And I know there's like a bunch of theories around it because the fierce deity, you end up looking like adult Link.
Yeah.
Like you end up looking like that.
And sounding like him, I think.
And sounding like him. So and then everyone was like, well, is Link is Link considered to be an eternal deity? Like and is he and it kind of makes sense because Link is constantly being reborn over and over again.
Pretty much, yeah.
So maybe he is the deity. Maybe maybe the Fierce Deity mask is representing a link from a previous time.
Yeah.
You know, in Termina. It could have been a previous time in Termina where Link had already done something heroic.
Yeah.
You know, and we've just never seen it in a game
Yeah.
format before.
Yeah. There's a lot that's still not fully explained there, and
No.
I think that's probably by design, probably because they're still kind of flying by the seat of their pants of it.
Yeah.
But the ways to George Lucas it into into an official, I mean,
Pretty much.
that's what we're gonna fucking
Pretty
call
much
it.
how it is.
Yeah.
George Lucas, he's like, I don't.
I got this thing. How do I connect it?
Oh, there we go, Jar Jar Binks.
Yes,
And it's
nailed
there. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Cut and print. We're good.
Woo! Everybody likes Jar Jar.
That's a movie. That's episode 1. Nailed it. Nailed it. I'm sad.
I enjoyed the Star Wars films, to be honest. I
yeah.
really did. I thoroughly enjoy them. The story absolutely makes no fucking sense between 1 and 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's
Not-
like the most childish fucking
not
writing
good
I've ever.
sense.
It's
Yeah.
not good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of videos.
Yeah. Oh, yes, and they've explained it very well.
This is, by the way, this is my brother here. I just want you to know.
LGBT convention? No, man, we're going to the one in San Francisco.
Yeah.
San Fran is where it's at, man. Come on.
San
man.
Fran, Austin, Texas, gay
Gay
capital of the
Mecca.
world.
Yeah.
I mean, either one of those. St. Louis even has one. We might, we might go down there.
Fun fact: I've volunteered for the
Actually, you did.
St. Louis one
Funny
for the past 3 years, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
Because when I worked at MasterCard, they always have a really good presence there, and I always help them out. So it's for a good cause. I'm totally an ally, and it is a
me too.
awesome cause.
Yeah.
So
100%.
see, look at that. We're transition things into
How
positive.
far are we in this stream here? Okay, we're like an hour. Well, we're
Okay. We'll do one more.
Yeah,
one
let's
more
do
for the
one
road.
more. One thing I did want to talk about. How do you feel about? Okay, it's a pretty big topic. Patreon and GoFundMe.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so a lot of streamers now are starting to use the Patreon
Yeah.
service.
Mhm.
A lot of streamers shouldn't be using the Patreon service
No, yeah.
because they fucking don't do anything.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm not funding your ability to be able to stay home and be lazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 100% not going to do that. If you create content that I want to watch
Uh-huh.
and stuff, I'll fully support you.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, like, the Kind of Funny guys, I'll 100%
Yeah.
support them because they make awesome content every day. It's stuff that I watch constantly. Another one of my favorite streamers is Duck Sauce. I wouldn't personally do, if he did a GoFundMe, I personally wouldn't do it because I'm already supporting him through Twitch.
Yeah.
Right? I'm already a subscriber to him on Twitch.
Mm.
I don't expect to give him more money because for the simple fact he only records one time a day typically. You
Yeah.
know? And he records for maybe 3 to 4 hours.
That's pretty good.
If he is doing an all day thing, or if he's recording multiple things, he's doing, or if he stops, when he stops recording, if he like goes and gets lunch or something and comes back and then starts working on something that he's doing later that night,
Yeah.
or he's preparing stuff for the next day, sure, I'll support you a
Yeah.
little bit more. But there's a lot of people that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I feel like too many people are starting these GoFundMe pages. And GoFundMe originally started with people that actually needed shit. Kind of like, like building a fucking like group treehouse. Like building materials, or people that actually make make shit. They're like, oh well, I am making these, like these mechanical objects and stuff, and I'm doing it all freelance.
Yeah.
I do have a day job, but I kind of don't have the funds for it.
Right.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, if I followed that guy, I would probably do a Patreon. But
Later, Midstroke. Thanks for joining, man.
yeah. And then I don't know. The same goes for the GoFundMe. There's a bunch of ridiculous people out there being like, "Oh, I want to go to summer school, but my mom won't let me." It's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
these are terrible. But I see it a lot when I'm watching streams. Is like, people have it down in their Twitch chat and stuff like that, and they have it constantly. Moobot or whatever is constantly posting, being like, "Support me on Patreon," and it's like, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but you only the only people that are watching this right now are me and like 10 other people.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, did you really put yourself in this position already to be like, I need money? Like,
Right.
I need money. You're not doing any giveaways.
Mm.
You're not going out and buying stuff for the stream.
Right.
You know, like, that would be like me and you trying to, today, going out and be like, if you want to support me and Alex doing one show a week, please,
yeah. For an
go
hour
fund me.
ish, yeah.
You know, like, there's definitely a place for it.
Yeah.
There's definitely a place for Patreon.
Mhm.
You know, a guy a guy that I watch does comics. Comics
Oh,
Explained. I don't know if you've heard about
I
him.
don't think I have.
He's been explaining all the comics for the Marvel franchise up into Age of Ultron and stuff like that.
That's pretty
And he's
impressive.
kind of going through it and explaining characters and stuff. Awesome guy, and
Nice.
he's doing it full time because people were saying he's got a bunch of subscribers on YouTube now, and he's like
Yeah,
you know
man.
what? To be honest, I do need a little more money,
Yeah.
kind of income to be able to pay for my house and
Yeah.
my child that I'm raising. And totally cool. I would definitely, I'm definitely donating to that guy. I donated once already, and it's just for the right cause. How do you feel? I'm blabbering over here. How do you
No.
feel?
And your blabbering is very on point with a lot of the stuff because there's a place for Patreon, and it has to be used right in order for it to be effective. I follow a number of people on Patreon. Probably the biggest one that I'm always proudest to support is Ben Briggs. He is a musician, DJ, producer, internet personality. Just does a lot of stuff. Really big fan of his music. He was actually in St. Louis for Anime STL a couple weeks back.
Okay.
And he DJ'd the dance and also did a couple panels. And I've seen him a number of times. Always
his
make
name?
sure to Ben Briggs is his name.
Okay.
And I always make sure to see him when he's at MagFest. He always does a huge appearance there. Really nice guy, really hardworking guy, and love the art that he makes with his music and with everything else he does. Really nice dude. And the way he has his setup Patreon, the way he has his Patreon set up is nice because if you sign up to donate like $1 a month, you'll get a song a month that he makes only for Patreon supporters. However, if his schedule's too busy with conventions, or if he has real life things, or if for whatever reason he doesn't make a Patreon song, he won't get charged. So you'll only get
that's
charged
doing
if he
it right.
has the stuff to push
Okay.
out. Same with Brentalfloss. He does similar stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then Mercworks is a comic guy. I think he's the third one that I support on Patreon. And more often than not, I'll get like an invoice that says, "Hey, Patreon charged you $1 or $2 this month." Usually, not all three of them will do the thing that meets whatever is required. So if it's set up correctly, or what I view as correctly, they'll only get paid if they do what they've promised, or if they do what they've set out to do. If it is just a source of income without any stipulations like what you were describing, that's where I think it gets a little bit more dubious. Because, I mean, you don't want to just pay for someone's living on the sole basis of supporting them. I mean, on the one hand, it's nice to support artists or personalities that you enjoy and that you want to help along, but you don't want to just be flat out paying the rent for them. One thing that I don't know if I disagree with or not is one thing that I think you were hinting at, where you might see like a tracker in the bottom of a Twitch stream that says, "Help me pay for my new video card,"
Yes.
or help me afford a plane ticket to go to PAX East. On the one hand, the new video card would let them play games that they might not be able to play right now, and they might be able to stream those games easier for our enjoyment. For PAX East, maybe you're going to PAX East and you want to meet them there, and it's like, well, yeah, it'll cost you $10. So, I don't know how I feel about it. On the one hand, I think there's some virtue to it, and I think it's not swindling people or anything. I think it's just, hey, if you want to help me out, that's awesome, and it would benefit those who are watching. On the other, there's a limit there, and there's only so much you can do before it starts to feel excessive, and it's a fine line, and I don't know where it is exactly, but yeah.
I have one. I know of one instance of a guy who absolutely just he lost pretty much all of his following.
Yikes.
It was a guy. I wasn't really following him for that long on YouTube, but he did a GoFundMe page
Okay.
and he did car reviews. I initially started following him
Interesting.
because I was pretty interested in. I'm always interested in Subarus, so
Yes.
I've been interested
Really?
in Subarus for all my
I'm
life.
shocked.
Right. And I love WRX. Well, his
Yeah.
tag is WRX fan.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, okay. And he, at the time, had a WRX. He
Uh-huh.
was doing videos, and then he bought another Subaru BRZ.
Yeah.
And then he sold that. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird.
The WRX?
Yeah, he sold all.
Really?
He sold all of his Subaru.
Oh, okay.
Any Subaru he had.
Okay.
He bought a Mini Cooper. And I was kind of, at that point, I was like, yeah, well, this doesn't really apply to me anymore. I liked your decent, okay reviews before.
Yeah.
I was like, but I feel like you're doing bad with your money now. Like, you're not doing the right thing. And then at that point, he got tired of the Mini Cooper, and then he bought another car. And then I was like, okay, so now
It's
you're
not sounding
completely
good.
diverging from what you were initially doing. He then made a GoFundMe page for him to buy a brand new Mustang. And it was funded. People actually paid money for him to do this, which was completely puzzling to me. I was like, why are, and I remember commenting one day, and I was like, why are people donating to you right now? It's like, you are completely opposite of what you originally did. I was like, you should honestly make a new YouTube page or change your YouTube handle to something else other than WRX fan, because when I read your name, I want you to be doing things that you were pertaining to what you initially did. But he got funded, and it was so fucking infuriating whenever I saw the video of him going to pick it up, and he was just like, yeah, thanks guys, thanks for helping me do this. And then now he's like, he still does videos and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, like, I thought we knew what you were doing, but what's to say that you're not going to just sell this car again, and basically reap the benefits all for yourself from this.
Given the track
I mean,
record.
his thing was like, yeah, I'm gonna do these car reviews. I'm gonna do more car reviews now. I'm gonna do more of this and more of this since I'll have this car, and his content's kind of remained unchanged.
And that's where I would start to feel kind of uncomfortable about it as well, just because, given the track record, buy one, sell one, and man, a brand new Mustang. There's really not a cheaper option he could have gone for. I don't know. That I would not feel comfortable supporting.
Yeah,
someone like
Eric
that.
said that would piss me off.
Eric,
it did piss me off, Eric.
Yeah.
Very much. I was like, man, you kind of threw it out a little bit. One person I wish would make, I don't think he has a Patreon, I would support him if he did, is, his name's Nobble. He does a lot of Warcraft lore videos, and he is extremely good at explaining everything with Warcraft lore.
Yeah.
He does a lot of other stuff too. He does Let's Plays of a bunch of other games and stuff. But he also has a full-time job, so he's kind of like a little sparse, but he ends up making time to make videos every week, which is pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
I would totally, for as much as he does, like, he will actually go to, like, the dungeon, and he'll go to the area that's actually the character that he's explaining.
No.
He'll go through it, he'll explain the backstory of the character, and then he might have 4 other videos that spawn off of that, because that mentioned a certain character, and then he'll spawn off. He is extremely good, and I loved all his videos. If he had a Patreon, I would totally donate to it.
Totally, man. I can appreciate that. Yeah, there are implementations of it being done well, and there's people that are totally responsible about it, and people who, are not ripping people off, and I appreciate that. Same with GoFundMe. I've contributed to a number of GoFundMes that I've felt good about. One of my favorite bands, they're actually in St. Louis last week. They're called Urizen. They're of all of the bands I listen to that do live acts that involve giant robots and blob monsters, and they're in my top 25.
That's awesome.
Top 25 bands
that
have
hilarious.
Giant robots and blob monsters. They're an extremely fun band, and throughout the years between them coming to St. Louis and myself and a bunch of my friends traveling to see them, we've gotten to know a lot of the band members, and they're all really great guys, and it's a labor of love. This is the kind of thing that's never going to earn them a lot of money. Touring the country, playing in clubs and playing shows and playing with playing with other supporting acts, trying to get enough gas money to make it to the next stop. This is the kind of thing where they only do it because they enjoy their craft and because they enjoy their art. And there have been a couple of times where their Macho Van Randy Savage would break down, and they wouldn't be able to afford to fix it. And it's like, well, we're in a tough spot because we have a tour to continue and we can't get to the next venue. We can't afford, we're already in debt. We can't just put it on a credit card and tighten our belts. We're already as tight as we can be. So they would make a GoFundMe for maybe $1,000 something like that, and it would get exceeded, and they would be super thankful. They would continue the tour. That's happened. I think they've lost 2 vans to that sort of thing, or has for it. And each time I can tell that they're in a tough spot because they they don't appear comfortable with it. They don't
Right.
seem they like you can just kind of tell they're torn because I think they feel kind of bad about it. But on the other hand, if you guys want, I think they try to frame it as like, if you guys want us to, to continue the story, if you want to see us at one of the stops, this is really our only option. So I think there are times where where a artist or a group of artists might kind of be boxed in, where it's like this is our lifeline in order to continue.
Yeah.
So I feel for the guys because, like I said, I mean, it's not like they're rolling in money to begin with.
No.
These are all dudes that this is a free time thing. They all have full-time jobs sitting for them at home. That's barely funding the fact that they have families and stuff like that elsewhere. So it's tough. It's really tough for them. But I admire them succeeding despite all that. So
Yeah.
there's a place for it, and even if the artist doesn't always feel good about it, sometimes it's what's necessary.
Yeah.
To get the support you need. So
Oh.
shout outs to Urizen. Anyone who likes they're like a G-rated Guar. If I had to give them, my buddy Nick would always use them to describe yours, and I think that's the best way to describe them. They're a
Okay.
G-rated Guar.
Guar is pretty interesting.
They are interesting as a
They're-
word.
Unfortunately, I guess their lead singer died. What was it?
Oh, their
year?
lead singer died. Was it? I think it was last year, which was unfortunate. The guy was, I
Yeah.
think, 50, not super
He's
old.
not super old. I think he eventually died of a drug overdose. I guess.
Yeah.
Is what the
They
did,
partied
so.
a lot in the early years.
Yeah. No,
But,
I mean, that's what happens. I guess.
It's the lifestyle. Yep.
But they were fucking crazy.
They still are.
Are they still equally
Yeah.
as crazy as they were?
They're coming to St. Louis and sometime in a month or two, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, they're as far I've actually never seen. I'm not a big Guar fan. I'll be probably the first to admit I'm not a huge fan. But
Yeah, I'm not either. I
yeah.
don't listen to the music or anything.
Yeah, but as far as I know, from all the friends that I know that do listen to Guar, they're equally insane, and that their live shows will get you equally drenched in blood. So it's to be embraced.
Wonderful.
So go to see Urizen. You won't get drenched in blood. You'll see a giant robot fight a blob monster, maybe even an evil scientist roll through with a tank and shoot tennis balls. So
That's amazing.
they are such an awesome band, and their music really damn good too. Like the live act is a good spectacle, but the music behind it also really awesome. So Urizen, go check them out. You will not be disappointed.
There we go. All right. Well, I think we've talked enough.
It's
What
good.
do you think?
It's good. We're ending on a positive note. That's what
We
we started on a depressing
note.
one
Why don't we just end the show with the video that we started with?
with good old Saw Hero
We are gonna
featuring
play
Laserhawk.
Good old Saw Hero.
Yes,
Let me pull it up here.
Anonymous. Love that. Yeah, and I was asking you earlier how you found this masterpiece of video, because you sent it to me saying, Alex, you will like this.
Oh,
And I was like, God damn it, you're right. I fucking love it. So I don't know how you came upon this masterpiece, but thank you for sharing it with the
you're
world.
welcome. I wonder if the window capture will still work.
You're doing your country
No.
a great service. Nope.
So let me add it here.
Well, while Justin awkwardly
Don't worry about me.
you're doing great, buddy. You're doing great. We'll see you guys next week. I know that I could do either Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know if you have a preference or if you really have an idea. I know that we had originally set out to make it Tuesdays, and I think that would probably work best for me.
Yeah, Tuesdays work.
So if we want to aim for next Tuesday,
Yeah.
that's the day after Memorial Day, so that gives us all a chance. Let me check my schedule just to make sure, but that should work for me. Tuesday looks golden. That'll actually be my first day of the new job.
All right. So on that
excited.
note, I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. Thanks. There's a bunch of new people with derogatory names. And
I
calling
embrace
us
it.
names.
Yep.
I do embrace every bit of it.
I embrace.
Thanks everyone who
yep.
joined. Thanks Eric for staying. I noticed that you were one of the last people
the
probably
holdouts.
to stay. So thank
Yeah.
you very much. And yeah, we will. Oh, hold on. We got one extra. Tell me what you think of it. I am not clicking this link, but I am.
You're gonna click the link. You should totally click it.
Hold on.
Click that shit.
Arc. I've heard of this. Hold on. Oh, this is the. Is this the dinosaur game?
I don't think I've heard of this one. Wanna share that shit? Share that shit, yeah.
Yes, I'm working. I'm a working man.
Look at this video. I'm looking at this video.
You're now being swallowed.
Spare my life. Please. There you go.
Okay, yeah, I did see the trailer for this last week.
That's pretty cool.
I guess I'm not play the sound because I'm sure it's like reverbing into the microphone.
That's a good point.
Anyways, I'm gonna pause it there.
That's cool.
But I will watch, or I'll have Alex watch the rest
Yeah.
of the video. Yeah, no, the game looks great. It looks very fun. So,
That does look sick. Yeah.
guys, hands below the
Hands
table.
over, hands over the table. Hands over the table.
Oh, hold on, they can't actually see us doing anything.
Oh, right. Hands
So,
are everywhere right now.
I'm not
All the
actually
hands.
looking at the screen. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and play Saw here. I'll just let you guys look at the chat for a second.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching, and we'll check you guys all later.